Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have been very bad at uploading recently because I have been diagnosed with stage 4 procrastination, as well as another sickness called lazy as fuck. So that's how it has been, and well, at least I have some cool pictures from Sarajevo, which I have been spending a lot of time at. But I'm back now, so let's get back into the video, and hopefully 2026 I can be a bit more consistent. That would be a New Year resolution, definitely. And apologies in advance for parts of the audio in this video might sound a bit more rough than usual. So about the first entry of the New Year's Gala of 1986, a quick recap for anyone that doesn't know what that is. The New Year's Gala show is called Chunwan in Chinese, and it is a recurring show since 1983. The show is around 5 hours, I think, and it is always viewed on the New Year's Eve, which in terms of New Year, I'm talking in terms of Chinese New Year or the Lunar New Year. The show consists mostly of some skits, funny skits, magic, and as well as a lot of singing and a lot of dance and general celebrations, as well as some blackface from here to there. You know how they do. And I can say that after watching this video, I was incredibly freaked out, to say the least. But the even more freaky thing was that when I was looking around in Bilibili in the comment section, it was actually, half the comments were kind of defending the video and saying that, oh, that was just our level in 1986 or 1984 or whatever. And oh, it's just all about background music. If you change it up, it would be nice. But you guys be the judge, because the strangest part is that no one in the editing studio releasing the footage was like, guys, this looks a bit weird. Well, enjoy this video, and it will be purely video, so I won't talk over it. And if you are just listening to this, take your phone up.
新年的钟声已经敲响，驮载着硕果的牛年，仍在牵动着我们的情长。
Okay, I just watched this again while I was editing the video, and yeah, it's definitely just the background music, guys. We also definitely needed the 14 shot of different clocks, and that's very important. And also the weird backlights on the soldiers and stuff. Let's move on to the next entry. 托梦 is a word in Chinese which means somebody giving you a dream or begging you to do something in the dream. And this usually means that there's some other person that really wants you to know about something, and it shows up in your dream to tell you that. And there's actually quite much historical documentation about this. And this case actually happened more than 20 years ago in the Changbai mountain area, which is an area in northern China close to the border of North Korea. A man named Zhang Yongchen went missing, and a few days later the police found a blood-stained shirt near a pile of wood. They confirmed it belonged to him, but beyond that, the investigation completely stalled, and nobody had any idea where he might be. But something very strange happened. One day, Zhang Yongchen's sister, Zhang Yan, showed up at the local police station and she told the officers that her brother had appeared in her dream the night before. In the dream, he told her that he has been murdered and that his body was buried near the railway track of South Chiangbai Mountain railway station, hidden under the bushes about 20 meters from the tracks. Naturally, the police were super confused. Solving a murder based on a dream sounds ridiculous, but what stood out was how specific her description was. She wasn't vague or emotional. She gave clear direction and insisted on that they check the location immediately. So the officers decided to follow her instructions. When they arrived at the spot that she described, they found a patch of bushes that she actually described to the police. Looking closer, they noticed that the soil looks moved, and they started digging right above it. After digging down nearly 2 meters, they found Zhang Youchen's body exactly where she said it would be. This case moved quickly after that. The police identified the killer as Han Zhigang, which turned out to be a romantic rival to her brother. Both men had been involved with the same woman. Zhang Zhigang has planned a murder in advance, digging the pit near the railway station before even killing Zhang and burying him there. What makes the case so unsettling was that Zhang Yan had never been to Chiangbai Mountains. She lived in Liaoning province and has no way knowing where the brother worked, let alone where the body was buried. And the next story is actually from Taiwan. And I know, oh, how dare you put that in the Chinese mystery? Oh, well, I just did. Alright? I might make a Taiwan special episode, because there's so much things happening there. But that would be another video. So let's get on with this one. And on January the 20th in 2008 in Changhua County, a 38-year-old woman brought a young girl with her and ran into a commercial building late at night, parking her electric scooter right outside. According to the guard, it was clearly very late and the woman looked extremely nervous. The guard found this strange and stopped her to ask what she was doing, and she replied that she was visiting a friend and quickly entered the elevator with a child. Since she was carrying a young girl, the manager didn't think too much about it and let her go in. The next morning, during the shift change, the night manager mentioned the incident to the daytime guard, and the daytime guard suggested checking the surveillance footage. This building has a tragic history. In the past, a woman has recently given birth and jumped from a building while holding her infant, killing both of them. Both of the guards now suspects that this could be a potential suicide, went directly to check the footage. The surveillance showed that the woman entering the elevator, placing the child on the floor and pressing the button. As the elevator slowly moved, she suddenly removed her red jacket and took off the child's jacket as well, and both of them took off their shoes. When the elevator door opened, she grabbed the child and rushed out, disappearing from the camera's view. There are 2 elevators operating in the building, but the elevator used by the woman and her child, after leaving her clothing there and exiting, was never used again for the whole night and stood still between 11:50 p.m. until 8 a.m. where her belongings was discovered. The guards continued reviewing all the footages, and they concluded that after the woman exited the elevator doors, she was never seen again for the rest of the night. The guard went upstairs to check the roof and the surrounding of the building, all the way down, knocking on doors and asking the residents. Later, police were called. Officers reviewed all the surveillance footages in the building, entrances, exits, hallway, and found no footage of the woman or child leaving the building. There were also no signs of a fall, no dead body, and no evidence of an accident anywhere nearby. With no leads, the police shifted the case from a possible suicide to a missing persons case. They released the woman's photo on television, asking the public for help. Soon after, a man contacted the police, claiming to be her husband. The woman's surname was Liu. She and her husband has been separated for over a year and had 4 children together, all raised by her. The husband worked manual labor jobs and struggled consistently to pay child support. Her elderly mother helped care for the children, but had no income of her own. Given the financial pressure and the family situation, police acknowledged that she might have a motive for suicide. However, her eldest daughter later said that earlier that evening, her mother told her she's taken the youngest child to visit a friend for a few days. Police could not find any friend in that building who knew her. That raised another question: who was lying? The police researched the building for days, especially the 12th floor. Still, nothing. Eventually, the case was officially classified as a disappearance. Because of the lack of official explanation combined with the red clothing, the unexplained undressing in the elevator, this case then quickly turned into an urban legend. Some people believe that the red clothing was significant, as red is traditionally associated with spirits in local folklore. They claim that mother and daughter had encountered something supernatural, that they were led away or possessed. Others suggested that they had crossed into another space or dimension, and that the clothes and shoes couldn't be taken across. These beliefs spread widely, and people began to fear the building. Apartments there became very hard to rent out, businesses struggled, and even in the summer, people said that the building felt unnaturally cold after sunset. Of course, these were all just theories. Some suggested that the woman had a secret lover living in the building and she went there to meet him with a child and later fled together with him. Others believed that a violent crime had occurred and the bodies were disposed in a way that could avoid detection. But none of these theories can fully explain why they undressed in the elevator. And in the end, like many urban legends in Taiwan, the story likely became distorted over time, and some details might be exaggerated or changed. Many suspected the husband as he had a long history of alcoholism and as well as violence against his family. 16 years after the disappearance, he fell in a very low height at a construction site where he was working and died, reigniting even more interest in this case. And here are two a bit more similar stories that I have put together, and one of them is the Tianjin daily newspaper building, which, if you look at the building from the front, there is one detail that will directly stand out, and that is that the entire facade is made of smooth glass going clearly from bottom to top, except for the 14th floor. And it's covered with more of a thick wooden boards. According to various accounts from people that worked in the building, strange things has happened years after it was completed. Staff members were claiming that cigarette butts will appear scattered across the 14th floor overnight, even though the area has been thoroughly cleaned, and others said that they have heard unsettling sounds late at night. Quite cliche, but that's what they claim, and things like clattering of mahjong tiles mixed with sound of women echoing through the empty hallways. There's also further stories about the elevators, where employees said that the elevators will sometimes stop at the 14th floor on its own. Stories eventually became linked to an older rumor about the building's construction. According to a rumor, a female construction worker once fell from the 15th floor to the 14th floor and landed directly into the drying concrete, got submerged and died within the concrete. As fear spread among employees, the newspapers reportedly consulted a feng shui master, and he recommended that the building's entrance has to be rebuilt, adding a large structure shaped like a bell, as well as different types of water basins to keep the spirits away, so to say. The official explanation of the 14th floor was that it is covered with wooden planks or wooden boards because of parts of the floor was used as black rooms to develop photographs, as well as to keep the equipment away from sunlight. Similarly with the Shenyang Ghost Building, which is one of the most well-known cases in China, but I'm not going to drag this out for too long because there's really not much depth into it. Simply a badly maintained building where residents has reported on that they have woken up in the middle of the night, and instead of being on the bed they have been on the balcony or in the hallways. And this entry was shared on Douban, which is equivalent of a Reddit post. And Reddit posts are good sometimes, it's good material, but at the same time we have to keep in mind that people post stuff to get good karma and to get a little bit of fame on the thread or in the Reddit verse. But this one, I felt like this person had absolutely no reason to lie about this, because the situation in this mystery is actually quite mundane, so to say. But this became a very much discussed subject on Douban at the time in 2013. So the original poster goes by the name Lucy, She had a friend working in a design firm in central Beijing, which had provided her with an apartment. The apartment was shared with 4 other colleagues, 3 men downstairs and a woman besides her upstairs. She had the biggest room in the 2nd floor, but the door was not lockable. It was a sliding door. Right outside of the sliding door is the toilet. And within the room, her colleagues were away very often at work trips, which meant that she would stay totally alone in this apartment. And usually when she's totally alone, Lucy would come to visit her. The first visit occurred in June, where Lucy came and she stayed at her room, and she noticed directly that her room was totally symmetrical. What that means is that from entering the room to the back wall where it had a AC unit, everything in the room that was not movable, such as the radiators and the windows and the electrical sockets, were all symmetrically placed on either side of the AC unit. She didn't really think about that much in the first visit, of course, but she took some photos of her nails and stuff. But at the second visit, she noticed directly that something was off. Her room has been entirely flipped, symmetrically, and to the most perfect detail. Everything stood at the same place. It's just that using the door and the AC unit as a midplane, it has been flipped to the other side. The bed went to the left side, for example. Even the piano was moved symmetrically to the other side. And she thought this was extremely weird and kept on asking her friend why she did it, and her friend had no idea that it happened and insisted on that this has always been the layout of her room. But she didn't let it go, and she was very persistent about why she would rearrange her room, because how would you rearrange a room when you are so stressed out at your work, and how could you move everything by yourself, even the piano? But her friend had no idea what she was talking about, until that Lucy remembered that she had some photos of her hand, that she took another one to compare it with the first photo. But her friend was still not convinced and saying that she is trying to prank her with some flipped photo or Photoshop. And that was kind of it for the second visit. And Lucy was very much weirded out already. And then in August, Lucy found another photo posted by another friend visiting this person. And she had uploaded a photo with the layout of the room similar to the first visit. And she concluded now again that the room has been flipped for a third time back, which means that the bed, for example, was back to the right side. So Lucy contacted her friend directly and talked about this, and her friend is now starting to notice that something was wrong, but she admits that her memory is a bit fuzzy in that period, but still quite much insisting on that she hadn't moved anything, of course, and that she is quite sure about that the layout has always been this way. Netizens immediately jumped in with theories on her thread and suggested alternate realities as well as time loops, but the most popular was all the diagnosis that they tried to do with her friend, saying that she had some type of a split personality disorder. You know how harsh the Chinese netizens can be. The firewall is actually protecting the West from the shitposts. And Lucy's friend did not find this funny at all, neither did her boyfriend, and they were both angry at Lucy for posting this story online and accusing her for making her friend look mentally unstable. But then her friend actually remembered something that happened before mirroring room incident, and this was that one night when she was totally alone in the apartment, she heard noises downstairs, and she knew for a fact that all her colleagues should not be back that night, and she became extremely scared. And as mentioned before, her room does not have a lock, so that she fled directly into her colleague's room, which had a lock right beside, and locked herself there, texting her friends about that if she doesn't answer their calls in the morning, they should contact the police. And she stayed up all night in that room. She kept hearing the noises downstairs, but then in the morning she went to check. The front door was locked. So could that be just some type of a symptoms of stress or paranoia? Or did she lie? Or is somebody actually living in their walls? Who knows? And now for everybody that clicked on the video, I'm very much thankful once again, and have a wonderful holiday season. Happy New Year 2026.